Hey there, I'm Dallas from Royal Tree Services, and today I'm taking you through a full tree removal from start to finish. Safety always comes first in our line of work, so before we get into the action, let's take a quick look at the gear that keeps me protected. I'm wearing a fan or helmet with a built-in hearing and face protection, plus a mesh visor and a solid pair of sunglasses. I've also got on a high-vis shirt, tough gloves for grip, chainsaw protective pants, and steel-toed boots. Before any saws touch any wood, everything has to be prepped right. For this job, I'm running a Stihl 201T with a 16-inch bar. Thanks for watching. At this point, we're going to show a before picture and an after picture, and then we're going to get right into it. Getting into it, I am clearing the lower branches. It's all about making space and setting the stage for a safer climb later on. Once I can't reach anymore with the saw, I switch over to a pole saw. Bring out the notch sectional pole saw. It gives me the extra reach to trim higher limbs from the ground before I climb. As branches come down, I make sure to pause and keep the work area tidy, staging them neatly in the driveway. A clean job site means safer, quicker cleanup. Here, I'm just adding sections to the pole saw, working my way around the tree, just making sure that branches are coming off safely. Here, again, I'm just staging brush to keep things neat and tidy, carrying branches out into the driveway. With all the lower branches cleared out, it's time to go up the tree. I'm climbing with Edelbride Talon spurs, a monkey beaver harness, and an adrenaline rope with an akimbo ascender. At this point in the video, there's a wind that picked up. You might notice it as the trees start moving. I'm making sure that I'm double tied in as added safety measure. I could use a steel braided lanyard, but I would still opt for double tying in. Once I have all the ropes set and lanyards set, I'm starting to climb up and remove the branches strategically. And that just takes a couple of minutes to make sure all the knots are tied in and ensuring that everything is placed correctly. As I'm making the first few cuts here, I'm thinking about where is my drop zone and just throwing the branches down in a semi-organized way to make the cleanup a little bit easier. Making sure that my ropes are all tied in properly and that the lanyards are set and not interfering anywhere they can get cut as I begin to dissect the canopy. As I start dissecting the canopy, I am kind of planning for the drop zone and just thinking about getting the butt ends to face the right way as I throw them down. To make this part of the job go a little quicker, I could use a power saw, but in this tree, I felt I just wanted to do it by hand. I felt like I had a little bit more control over where the branches were landing and how to handle them. So I chose to use my silky Zubat. By this point in the climb, the wind actually started to really pick up. I was starting to get concerned if the wind direction was going to affect the way that the top came down, and I was making a mental decision whether or not I should continue climbing higher. I was thinking, is that top gonna break off? Am I putting myself in danger? Because when you're working about 35, 40 feet in the air, it does make a difference in the wind. So as you get closer and you start removing limbs from a tree, they can start to sway a little bit more. Just things that I think about when I'm up that high in the air. My ropes would obviously catch me and prevent, a catastrophic fall. But is the tree going to fail? I don't know. And so, as an added measure, just paying attention to the wind direction and how that is affecting the overall outcome of the job. I felt pretty confident getting closer to the top that the wind wasn't going to be too bad. The tree was strong, it had strong wood, so I made the decision to go as high as I could go, or as high as I thought I should go. I probably could have removed the top at this point, but on the ground, it would have made it really heavy to move, so I just kept taking some more of the smaller branches that have pine cones in them and continuing dissecting the canopy of this spruce tree. The deciding factor here of where I chose to stop climbing and start thinking about removing the top was when the lateral branches started to point upwards. That at that point in the tree, I could see that there was like not very much left to get to the top, and so I felt pretty good about that spot. I decided this is where I would be taking the top off. So I pull out my saw, start the saw just to get it running a little bit, give it a couple of seconds to warm up, switch back over to taking off a little bit more weight, and make a face cut and take the top off. On the way down, I'm using my body as a measurement to gauge how the stem, how much of the stem I can handle in one shot. And as I get lower and into the bigger wood, I'm taking smaller chunks off. I'm using a snap cut method here, and that just gives me more control. I cut through the front and the back at separate angles, separate distance, and I can snap off the piece that I'm working with. And I'm throwing it down onto the branches that I threw down just to give it a kind of a softer landing. And as I get lower here, I'm making the pieces a little bit smaller and more manageable on the way down. Once I cut into the bigger wood, the Still 201 does really well still, but it's time to start thinking about getting out of the tree. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm going to bring it down. I'll do a few more cuts. Paying attention to where the branches are coming out and making sure that I'm either cutting above or below. This just gives me a point of leverage and kind of balances the weight a little bit. Now at this point, I switched to cutting straight through the log. The wood is getting pretty big here, and so I opted to cut all the way through, and once the saw was set into the log, I would just push it over. So the log is about 10 feet high, maybe 12 feet or 15. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing here. And thinking it's time to come out of the tree. It's pretty low at this point, and I can come out safely and drop that tree, drop the stump of the tree safely. So at this point, I'm just getting out of the tree and getting everything out of the tree and back in its bags where they belong, organizing my tools and getting out of the tree. That's a job well done. Safe removal right there. Like I mentioned before, I could have used a power saw, which would have made the entire process go a lot quicker on the way up and made the job go a lot faster. But overall, this took about 45 minutes. After the tree was removed, I started to go into the cleanup phase. I have everything laid out in this driveway. Now, it doesn't always happen like this. In this case, it was ideal, so that's why I thought, hey, what a great time to make a video. And so right now I'm just going through and cleaning up this whole thing. This whole time lapse here probably took, I think it was 7 minutes. I'm not sure though, maybe just a little bit over 7 minutes. So it goes pretty quick once the wood chipper is fired up. It's a BCXL 1000 wood chipper, and it eats absolutely everything. It's a great wood chipper. It served me well, and it can act surprisingly. The 1-ton truck that I use can hold quite a bit of foliage. So here I'm just doing the last little bit of cleanup before I have to go take the rest of the top out and stage it for the next time I run the chipper. Now once I get the rest of the top out and staged, I'm just going through and putting the rest of the branches through the wood chipper. And now that the branches are all dealt with, I'm going back over to deal with the trunk. And I'm just loading it up with a wheelbarrow, and I'm putting what I can through the wood chipper. This goes great with gardens and people who compost and stuff, so I try to give that stuff away. And then once I get that all cleared away, I'm moving over to the trunk, and I'm putting a little notch in it. Not that it really needed it, but just for better control. I could have snap cut it. This tree had a little bit of a lean and was just a little bit bigger than my bar, so I moved over and put it over. And then I cut it into manageable pieces that I could wheelbarrow over to the truck and put in the truck. Here I'm cutting the stump a little bit lower. The customer wanted a place for their drain spout to rest on, so I am just taking it down a little bit lower. I just want to say thank you for watching. If you've made it this far into the video, please like, share, comment, and leave a comment if I could do better or something else you'd like to see me doing. Any feedback is very much appreciated. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.